time. And for me, I still believe that this petition at this time is not just for today. And we need to look at it beyond a win or a loss of an election and see the possible threats that our country faces for the future. Because we can be so focused on today until we forget tomorrow. And then when tomorrow comes, we wish that we should have looked at this before.
Council, Doc is talking about this being quite a Solomonic decision that they have to make. And not only will it cater for today, but also cater for tomorrow. Looking at the current jurisprudence, we had a big one in 2017 when the elections were annulled. We also had a big one when the BBI also went to the drain. Now we have even judges and observers from outside, and the 2017 decision was hailed by many countries as quite a decision, and a bold one for that matter. Now we are in the same position again. The decision of these judges, what does it speak of the current jurisprudence that we have in the country based on what we've had in the last couple of, let's say even in the last 2 years, because we've had the BBI, which also went all the way to the apex court. Now we also have an election petition, actually many petitions for that matter.
Well, Joe, I agree with Daktari here that indeed the task that lies ahead of the 7 Supreme Court judges is quite, it's a big task that should not only look at the present, but should have a keen look at the future. Remember, the Supreme Court is just a unique court that was formed after we promulgated the Constitution. Previously, the Court of Appeal was the highest court on this land. But the Supreme Court, if you read the Supreme Court Act, it has some special jurisdiction or objectives. It has some objectives that it must fulfill every time it makes a decision on any issue. Number one, it must ensure that there is indigenous growth of our law. That, of course, focuses also on our past. It looks at our history as a country. So that any decision that the Supreme Court comes up with must first be informed by our history as a country. And perhaps when you had the opportunity of discussing, the fall of the BBI decision, you saw there was so much emphasis on the history of this country. And this informed to a larger extent why the Supreme Court found the BBI, or rather the Constitutional Amendment Bill of the year 2020 to be unconstitutional. So really, it is important that when we decide some of these questions, and some of the most important questions before the Supreme Court, if you want to even summarize them, does the decision that leads to the declaration of one as the president-elect have to be a decision that is made by the commissioners, or that it has to be a decision that is only made by Chebukati or the chair of the commission, and then the chair of the commission, after making the decision alone, makes then the declaration alone. So really, these are some of the very important questions, because moving forward, we will still have the commission.
Yes, of course.
We will not have Chebukati, but we will have the commission.
We have the commission. And it's the only independent one for that matter. Indeed, and we're going to be touching on the same after we come back, but first of all, let's have that break. But looking at your screen, you can see that the apex court is just a few minutes shy of 11 a.m. And of course, we will be getting back to that court a little bit later as soon as those judges get into that. Remember, today is pre-trial conference. We'll be back in a minute.
To get Change Your Thinking Skizatune, dial star 811 star 961 hash.
When you change the quality of your thinking, you change the quality of your life. sometimes instantly. Just as positive words can make someone calm, smile or laugh, your thoughts will react to the world in real time. So, change the quality of your thinking.
Dial star 811 star 961 hash. Star 811 star 961 hash.
Yes, welcome to Mutembei TV. This is Political Dissection with me, Samuel Juang. This is a day, the big day Kenyans have been waiting for. And the 7 judges who are going to preside over this particular presidential petition that has been filed by the Right Honorable Raila Odinga and also the likes of Omkia Omtata. We want to take a look at the judges who have been there. We want to take a look at their history and also to understand who are they and what are they capable of doing. Now let's start with justice.
Today we are looking at the supreme battle that we expect at the Supreme Court any moment from now, because it's just a minute to 11. We're expecting the 7 judges of the Apex Court to be landing at the court that is at the domicile at the Milimani Law Courts, and on one corner is the presidential petition, a petitioner seeking to have that presidential election annulled. That is on the blue corner. That is the Raila Odinga and the Azimio Brigade. But on the other hand, on the president-elect side, they say that the elections were free, fair, credible, and verifiable as demanded by court in the year 2017. When you do remember, we had to go back to the ballot, and I have this panel of experts trying to look at the things in a more fashionable and more easier, because we will be having a lot of jargons flying here and there, and we are trying to put these things a little bit into perspective. I have Dr. Churchill Saoke, who is a leadership and governance expert and also a lecturer at the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. Wamboi Shadrack is also a constitutional lawyer, same as Henry Kurauka, who is also a constitutional lawyer. And before the break, we were looking at the jurisprudence in Kenya. We had landmark judgment in 2017, hailed by many countries as well. We had to go back to the ballot peacefully, and we did that. Now we had the BBI that went to the Apex Court, and we did that. Now we also have another one. But in this year, Henry, you will agree with me, it's quite different from 2017. Correct. This one is quite heavy, if you ask me. We didn't have a divided commission back then. We have a divided commission now. We have so many petitions. Of course, we expect some to be consolidated during the pre-trial hearing today. The level of jurisprudence that this country is, and especially in these landmark decisions, your sentiments?
Yes, we have to give credit to Kenyans because of the 2010 Constitution. We are actually light years ahead of our neighbors. For instance, in Tanzania, the decision of IBC, or rather the electoral body, is final. No court can challenge their decision. So we are light years ahead. Kenya appears to be the first country in the world to annul presidential elections. And our Supreme Court decisions have been cited all over the world. Today, we have, I understand, 11 judges, foreign judges, who have come to follow the proceedings. And that credit goes to Kenyans. We did so because previously there were a lot of challenges in rendering a credible, a fair, and transparent elections. You remember the times of Mulolongo and so on. So to cure that, the Supreme Court was brought in as a key organ in electoral processes, so that if IBC does not follow the law, then decisions will be amenable to judicial intervention. And not only these presidential elections, we have so many other petitions over other seats that are being challenged across the country. So we need to commend our courts, our citizens, our government for even enabling our Supreme Court